Joe, are you going to cover Yemen? Is MSNBC going to cover Yemen?
Yeah, we do. We
did this morning.
This morning, watch the show.
Yeah, for 10 seconds. You haven't.
Corporate media giant MSNBC portrays itself as the voice of the liberal resistance against Donald Trump, but it has almost entirely ignored the worst humanitarian catastrophe on Earth, one in which Trump has played a key role. Peace activists gathered in New York City on April 17th to protest MSNBC's coverage of the US-Saudi war on Yemen, or rather, the liberal TV network's lack of coverage of the devastating war, which has gone on now for more than 4 years.
And I'm here today because we need more coverage of the war in Yemen and the US crimes in Yemen on mainstream news.
MSNBC's coverage has sucked. I'm really disappointed to see that this supposedly liberal news outlet has failed to cover the world's worst humanitarian crisis in the first 3 months of this year. We need information in order to make informed decisions, and a democracy dies in darkness, as we see, and we're in darkness. And I'd like to see the Morning Joe just gives 2 minutes to the humanitarian crisis. A child dies in Yemen every 10 minutes. So let's give 2 minutes for Yemen. Don't just cover Trump's veto, cover the actual legislation. Just a few seconds of lip service to this liberal pushback against Trump isn't enough.
An April 9th study by the media watchdog Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting found that MSNBC did not cover the US-Saudi war on Yemen at all in 2019. While MSNBC has obsessively covered Russiagate conspiracy theories, it has actively ignored the world's largest humanitarian crisis, which was created by a bipartisan American war. Peace activists protested outside a Manhattan concert by Joe Scarborough, the multi-millionaire MSNBC host of the popular talk show Morning Joe.
Yemen is totally the subject of a massive media blackout here in the US and in the North and the West in general. The media's unwillingness to cover that is a pretty direct example of the hypocrisy of liberalism in this country and the complete ignorance of American foreign policy and how it's so directly implicated in that crisis. Especially an organization like MSNBC that postures as a liberal anti-Trump group but really refuses to interrogate the deeper roots of that ideology in this country and its role in perpetuating crisis and atrocities abroad. American taxpayer money goes directly to fund the same military-industrial complex in which Saudi and the UAE are implicated, buying American weapons, profiting from US support for the military crimes in Yemen.
At the demonstration, I tried to ask Scarborough why his network is ignoring the worst humanitarian catastrophe on Earth, but his security team prevented me from asking any questions.
Joe, are you going to cover Yemen? Is MSNBC going to cover Yemen?
Yeah, we do. We
did this morning.
This morning, watch the show.
Yeah, for 10 seconds. You haven't.
Joe Scarborough's claim that MSNBC is covering the war is blatantly false. The network only mentioned Yemen for a few seconds on April 17th, after President Trump vetoed a bipartisan bill that passed both in the Senate and the House of Representatives and that sought to end US support for the Saudi war. But MSNBC has not covered the brutal war itself, yet alone the unparalleled humanitarian crisis that it has unleashed on Yemen's civilian population. On Twitter, where Joe Scarborough is very active, the MSNBC host has only mentioned Yemen one time in the past 4 years, in December 2018. The official Twitter account of Morning Joe has also never mentioned the US-Saudi war on Yemen. For MSNBC, it appears that this devastating conflict is simply not a priority. Perhaps this is because the bombing of Yemen is a bipartisan war that began under Obama and has continued under Trump. And MSNBC has repeatedly supported bipartisan US wars again and again and again, from Iraq to Libya to Syria and now to Yemen. Even in the Trump era, it looks like little has changed. For the Grayzone, I'm Ben Norton.